Hello and welcome to Real Watchers Movie Club. My name is Garrett.
And I'm Kevin.
And we are your hosts. Movie Club is a show where we pick a movie and discuss it every week, just like a book club. On today's show, we're covering the classic comedy, Some Like It Hot. Our thoughts and more coming up on Movie Club. Released in 1959, Some Like It Hot was directed by Billy Wilder and stars Marilyn Monroe, Tony Curtis, and Jack Lemmon. After two male musicians witness a mob hit, they flee the state in an all-female band disguised as women, but further complications set in. It is currently ranked 133 on IMDb's Top 250 and has a 4.3 out of 5 on Letterboxd and is ranked 198 on its Top 250. It was nominated for 5 Academy Awards, including Best Art Direction, Best Cinematography, Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Director, and Best Actor for Jack Lemmon. It won 1 Oscar for Best Costume Design. Before we dive into today's movie, though, we do want to issue a spoiler warning for the film. We are going to be talking about everything that happens over the course of this movie. So if you haven't seen it before, and I hate to spoil it, but like pretty much every other movie we've covered on the show, we think you should watch it before you have to hear what we have to say. So go watch it first, then come back. You're not going to offend us. Don't worry. But stay tuned to the end of the show, though, to find out what we're covering next week, because sure to be an interesting one.
Again, we don't want to spoil that movie either.
Okay, Kevin. So this week we have Some Like It Hot. And this was my pick this week. I have seen this movie before. I saw this back in, I want to say in high school or like first year of college in a film like appreciation type course that I took. And it's been almost 10 years since I've seen this movie. And so I barely remembered anything about it except for the iconic last scene of this movie. And so I wanted to cover it again because I feel like we've done so many serious movies in a row. That I wanted to watch something that was a little bit lighter in tone, but also it is considered one of the best comedies ever. And so I definitely wanted to not only watch it again, but I wanted to have you experience it for yourself as well. So had you heard of this movie before it was on the list, or did you have no idea?
So I have heard of this movie, but it was from one of my friends who posted it on Letterboxd. But before that, I think I've heard like not rumors about it, but like people talking about it, like Some Like It Hot. And I guess I have heard of it. I just wasn't really interested in watching it, but I'm so glad I did.
And there you go. That movie club summed up there. I'm just kidding.
And next week's movie.
There you go. I mean, I don't even really know where to start with this movie because I feel like of all the genres, it's really hard to review and analyze a comedy movie. For me specifically, just because I feel like comedy is so subjective. I feel like the only other thing that is a little bit hard to maybe analyze is horror, right? Because we all find different things scary. But I think at the core through line though is we can tell it like what a good movie is, regardless of its genre. It's kind of hard to talk about a movie like Some Like It Hot. It's the same kind of thing we ran into with Dr. Strangelove, right? Where it's like you don't want the whole conversation just to be, oh, this part was funny, and then this part was funny. So it is kind of hard to talk about things. But I do really want to talk about here the performances.
Yeah, I mean, they were all fantastic, even to like the slightest non-main character. Like I guess the older gentleman that they meet at the hotel that has the yacht, he was hilarious throughout the whole
favorite
thing.
Character.
He was so funny, so good. But he's not even a main character. I don't even remember his name, but he was like a standout in that because of how good he was.
It is the actor's name is Joe E. Brown. It's the character's name is Osgood Fielding.
Yep, Fielding. The third.
And I just realized I got the wrong person's name in my review here, calling that out. I called out the detective, not the person who was the yacht owner. No, I thought I'm just going to go ahead and start with him. He is my favorite character of this movie, just because he's so funny.
He is.
like, I mean, we already kind of talked about the end, right? The iconic ending sequence for this movie, but the running away with him in his little dinghy of a boat, and the last part, obviously, Marilyn Monroe and I want to say I get the two of them confused. No, it's not Jack Lemmon. It's Tony Curtis. So Tony Curtis and Marilyn Monroe hit it off. They're in the back schmoozing. But when when Jack Lemmon's talking with Joe E. Brown, who's Osgood, just the guy's such a good guy, man. Like every possible red flag that Jack Lemmon throws at him, he's just like, "Nah, it's all right. Nah, it's
okay."
And the best part is like, "All right, you know, I'm actually a guy," and he's like, "Yeah, no one's perfect."
Yeah.
And just Jack Lemmon's like, "Well, he's got me there." Like,
yeah,
it's so good. And this is, and it's worth it to say too, like, for some people who may watch this movie, like me included, like there are not a lot of LGBTQIA plus movies that came out during this time, right? And I wouldn't say that this is necessarily with that intention, but it can definitely be taken by that community, and like it's a great, you know, it's a positive movie, right? And Joe E. Brown, Osgood Fielding, is one of the best like allies that I've ever seen.
Yeah,
in a film.
I mean, and sometimes I took it away as like they are going to be best friends now, like, so it doesn't matter, it doesn't have to be like a dating thing. It's like, you like, I don't know, he kind of was attracted to him actually, so never mind, I repent. I that statement is out the window.
I mean, you could look at it in any different way. I mean, you know, and that's the wonderful thing about film, right? I mean, there could be an intention from the director, from the screenwriter, from the actors, but like you walk away with it with your own interpretation, and like that's just as valid as saying, like, you know, like, because, you know, at the time it would have been funny, like, oh, like they'll get married or whatever, ha 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 ha, right? And now it's like, oh, nice, like, you know, it's like there is kind of a nice, you know, generational change with that, but yeah, Joe E. Brown, absolutely hysterical through this whole movie. It's kind of like the uncle or the grandfather that I would love to have.
Yeah, he's the cool uncle. The cool uncle that comes to Christmas and you're like, what's going on?
He's the one that buys a yacht but then refuses to take off the captain gear ever. Like, which is just so charming when he's in that role. But I do want to talk about the main three. Obviously, Jack Lemmon and Tony Curtis are fantastic in this movie. With I believe it was Jack Lemmon I said in the intro. Yeah, Jack Lemmon getting the Oscar nomination. But I think that they are their best when they are dressed up as Daphne and Josephine.
Yeah. Oh, I love when what's his name? His name's not supposed to be Daphne when they first get on the train.
Oh, sure. Yeah, you're right.
Oh, what's his guy name?
Well, it's Jerry is Jack Lemmon. And then Tony plays Joe. Joe turns into Josephine.
Was he like Jocelyn or something like that? It started with a J, but then he just goes, "I'm Daphne," and what? so good. Did not see that one coming up. But I also liked when they're on the train and it's nighttime and all the girls are getting a drink, and Marilyn Monroe's like, "You got this? Yeah, we got this. I'll go get the shaker." And it's like, no, only one person needs to be up here, and then everybody just starts getting up. It's hilarious,
dude. I don't want this sentence to be taken out of context. I would love to be a woman in an all-female band in the 50s trying to hide getting drunk from their bosses, because that scene just looked like so much fun.
It's so hectic at the same time, but it just looks so funny. Oh, and then they start tickling Daphne, and they're like, oh, she's ticklish, and he's like, no, stop it.
And he's calling out for help. It's just hysterical. But I do also really, kind of switching gears a little bit, I do want to talk about Marilyn Monroe here, which this is the only time I've seen Marilyn Monroe in a film. I'll just be completely honest.
Yeah, me too.
And I mean, I've only known her from, like, obviously her famous portraits and from films that included her, movies like Blonde with Ana de Armas and things like that. So
hmm
I'd never actually really seen her outside of this in a film, and she's fantastic.
She was good. I still prefer the two guys in this one because they
Sure.
make up the whole movie. But she's a good accent to the movie to give it like that girl twang, pretty much.
Yeah, she's great in this role that would be taken up by like a Zendaya or like a Sydney Sweeney or like a Margot Robbie
hmm
nowadays. She's
hmm
like the bombshell character that one of them's going to fall in love with and can create this
Yeah.
huge complication story-wise. And she's great at it. And she does have like, she obviously plays the femme fatale, even though she's not really a femme fatale in this movie, but like she plays that kind of role really well. She also, like, I don't know if it's actually her singing and performing in the group.
hmm
I'd have to research that. I don't know off the top of my head, but that she's also good there. She's
Yeah.
definitely a showman, right? She does understand how to entertain and
hmm
just be this really kind of warm and inviting presence.
Yeah, it was very enjoyable. Again, this is my first time seeing Monroe on the screen, and I have no bad things to say about it. So that means it must have been very good. What was I gonna say? I forgot. Never mind. I'm trying to think of something else. Oh, another funny part. See, this is horrible with comedies. The funny parts are going to be said on here, so please, spoiler alert before the spoiler alert. Freaking Shell Oil was the greatest name for a guy ever. And oh gosh. First off, I forgot what they looked like as guys. So when he came onto the beach, I was like, "Oh, it's a new character." And then when he gets back in the bathtub, I'm like, "Oh, wait, no, that was the same guy. Never mind." But
I
just
loved it.
the whole hotel scenes are just fantastic. As soon as they get on the bus, you know what it's going to be like, and it just never fails to like it was just I was smiling the entire way after that. So
It's really hard to watch this movie and not smile.
yeah,
And I think that it's because of its performances. It's because also something very important to call out here: the writing is very good in this movie. Obviously, the performances are the ones that bring it to life, but like the core script is really funny too.
Yeah. I
It,
mean, there's not a lot of like I thought this would be like a slapstick comedy. There are some slapstick stuff in here, but like the again, we're gonna tell you about some of the funny things. But when I don't know if it's Jack or Larry who gets in the elevator. Oh no, it's with Osgood. So whoever
mm,
Osgood likes gets in the elevator and gets tells the elevator operator, we're gonna go all the way up. And then it gets stuck and then comes back down. And then he goes to the room, he goes, I just don't understand. He pinched me. It's just so funny. He's like, this is what girls feel like then, or how women feel like after that. This is so funny because I mean, me, us being guys, we don't get that attention like that. And then back in the 50s, very lenient on everything.
yeah.
So, but it was just so funny seeing the reaction to everything about being a woman and everything.
hmm and I feel like this is one of those movies where it has aged surprisingly well.
It
I mean,
has.
there's obviously going to be a couple things here and there just because of the time period it was set, but like it does age fairly well.
Mhm.
And I would like to see a modern redo of it.
I think
I
that would
think
be fantastic.
I think it'd be great. The only thing I think I would be worried about is that they would potentially go into more of like the modern day, the modern time period, like kind of bigotry and hatred of people in drag that happens
hmm
right now. And I think that that would become a major part of its story, which shouldn't be injected. I think it should
Mm-mm.
just be a fun, great time because that's what this movie does. There's no like, there may have been some little things here and there, like, oh, that might be a guy or whatever, right? But like, that was never like a major plot point. It was never
No.
like, don't let them in here or whatever,
And
like, right?
and it's and it's like they looked at them weird. It's not like they said something verbally, like a bystander would say something verbally, like, that looks interesting. It's just they just turned and looked and were like, okay. Like, just
Which is
thinking,
it's funnier. That is
it's
so much
great.
funnier.
It's great because you know, as the person watching it, that they are male, but they're like, is that? I can't be. Never mind. And that's sometimes the funniest part, because it's like they don't even know what's happening, but we do.
Yeah, and the film wisely allows these characters to just exist and take advantage of the situation and just make it move the story along. And that is just what is so good about it.
Yeah.
And that's why I really enjoy it. And I think that's why a lot of people, in the LGBTQIA plus community have like really enjoyed this movie and kind of it may not necessarily be a story for that community or by that community, but it's one that they embrace. And I think that that's important, as like a member myself, I walked away with it with a different kind of perspective. And so it was fantastic. Alrighty. And we could just sit here and point out funny things that happen in this movie. This movie is really, really successful because of its script and its performances. And I mean, it is filmed well, it's directed well, it's shot well, but like, that's not the point of this movie. The point of this movie is the humor, the script, and the characters, which it nails. And so let's go ahead and get into our final thoughts and scores here, Kevin. So this was my pick. So you go first.
Okay, yeah. So I really, really enjoyed this movie. The main characters and with Marilyn, but even the side character that I get to meet along the way are just fantastic. Slapstick comedy sometimes, but some smart comedy at the other times, which I really enjoyed. And for the time period that this came out in, fantastic. Absolutely loved it. I gave it a 90 out of 100, which accumulates to 4.5 stars for me.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm very close to the here. I think that this movie is hysterical from beginning to end. It's so lighthearted, and it's just a great time. Like, you could literally show this to, I mean, I wouldn't show this to like young kids, but like you could show it to anyone, and I think that they would find something funny out of it. I didn't really talk about it, but my only minor complaint is a little bit of pacing. I think that it does feel a little long at points. I'm not saying it's a long movie. I'm just saying at points it kind of drifts a little bit, but I don't know what I would cut, because I very much enjoy pretty much every part of this movie. And so with that, I gave it a 95 out of 100, which is a 4.5 stars out of 5, the same star and a half score as Kevin's. So the question now falls to you. What do you think of Some Like It Hot? We'd love to hear what you have to say down in the comment section down below. But just remember to be respectful of one another, because one of the other person might be a mob member, and we'll be, coming for you. But next week, we'll be covering the action drama Fight Club. So we're really taking a genre left turn here. If you want to make sure you're not spoiled, make sure to watch it before next week. But thank you again so much for watching. We do have our live stream every single Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, unless you're watching this, right. Basically next week, which will be October 15th, we'll be having on a Tuesday. So that's just the only thing that's going to be different. But if you're watching this after the fact, we are live every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And we also have this show that goes uploaded every Friday at 4 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, just in time for anything you need to do. But thank you for watching. Until next time, make sure to keep those eyes on the screen.